Max Verstappen showed his dominance again, which means the Red Bull are back and the Red Bull have gotten their mojo back. Also, Carlos Sainz was able to prove his doubters wrong as he took the Williams into a podium position. George Russell an opportunity to prove Mercedes wrong, that he is still a driver to reckon with. Welcome to the analysis of Azerbaijan Grand Prix in Baku, the land of fire. Yes, it was fireworks as Max Verstappen did a Grand Prix with a beautiful Grand Slam. Yeah, pole position, fastest lap or win, and he was number one all through the race, which was outstanding. And this is the first time in Baku he's proving that yes, Baku might not be one of his best tracks, but he can get something out of Baku. I think, and I would say here, it is showing that the leadership of Red Bull made the right decision by cutting Christian Horner off. Demoting him and sacking him were things that really showed that they wanted to move in the right direction. Promoting a young Laurent Marquez is a big and bold statement, and with his experience from Ferrari now to Racing Bulls, and from Racing Bulls to Red Bull, to show that yeah, he is not ready to give way. He is ready to take up a challenge that would cement his legacy, and that legacy he really cemented as he went all out to show that he has something to offer by winning a back-to-back Grand Prix with Max Verstappen. There are still lots of things to achieve, and we can see under him Yuki Tsunoda is performing. Good qualifying yesterday, good race today, although there were some calls from them I didn't really speak of. But at the end of the day, Yuki Tsunoda, the last two races, he's had some beautiful points, he's improved. Well, what else do they want in a team? It shows they're moving forward and they are progressing. And in the land of the wonderful fire, we saw how a lot of drivers brought their best out, and it showed that I think from now on we're getting more interesting, especially next year when we are facing an unknown. Every team, every driver is going into an unknown. It is going to be a little bit different. But how did the race pan out? Oscar Piastri, the championship leader, was out by turn 5. He made a jump start, tried to correct himself. The jump start that put a driver like Fernando Alonso into another jump start. He tried to correct, went back to last, and from there, trying to salvage the situation, he locked up and went straight into the wall, and that was the end of his race for championship leaders. Well, that has damaged the image McLaren had put together all through the season, and has also made us know that no driver cannot make mistake. And Fernando Alonso got a 5-second penalty for his own stress. He did a jump start also, and from there it went a little bit haywire for him. From there, he could not salvage the race. Alex Albon too could not salvage his own race. Made a lot of mistakes in the race. Had a collision all through his race today, and some of these teams need to look at a reset before Singapore, because Singapore is going to be interesting. Night race and clearing the 17th race of the season. 7 more races to go. It's going to be interesting. Esteban Ocon was disqualified yesterday, so he started last. And from last, he had a collision with Nico Hülkenberg on lap 1. The collision set him back a little. He had 2 tire changes, ran his hard to the end. One part of the race that we thought would not surface was easy overtaking. Some cars had it easy overtaking, but some never had it because of the wind direction. The wind direction really put a lot of drivers in a different position. They were not stable. They were not really in the mood, because it helped some drivers, especially some cars, gain slipstream, but they cannot overtake, while some gain slipstream and they overtook. Now, drivers that were mighty on the straight, the Racing Bull, the Red Bull, and the Williams, they were mighty on the straight. In short, towards the end of the race, looking at it, the Ferrari were faster in first and second sector, but in the last sector, the Ferrari were not there. They were losing everything Ferrari gained in first and second sector. They are losing the whole package of what they gained, and a tenth added to it in the last sector. They were not fast at all. They were unable to close up. The wings the Ferrari were having on looked like a wing that should give them an advantage, but they never had the advantage. Lewis Hamilton was stuck behind Aja. He was able to overtake him, but from there he was stuck behind his teammate. On the second stint, he was stuck behind Lando Norris, who was stuck behind Yuki Tsunoda, who was stuck behind Liam Lawson. 2 drivers, Yuki Tsunoda and Liam Lawson, that were struggling and fighting for their fate in F1 next year. Look at Colapinto pitching a lot of drivers behind him. For me, for Ferrari, their DRS was not even working. Even when Lando Norris was out of battery, Lewis Hamilton was unable to even lap him on the straight, because the McLaren were mighty on the straight. Now Ferrari knows they have a lot of work to do on their car, especially against next year. The McLaren still look imposing. It will be a very interesting season next year. Going to Mercedes, a fight between two teammates, while one stayed outside to have an overcut on the other one. That is George Russell, with the experience, having an overcut on his teammate, and that set him to take the second place. And what a strategy it was, because without that strategy, he would have ended third or fourth. But started on the hard tires, stayed out there long, held on and waited for the right time. His teammate started on the medium tires, went into the 30s of laps, had the tire change. Then from there, he was unable to hold on to the positioning, while he suffered some eye deg while staying behind Liam Lawson and also Yuki Tsunoda. He was unable to close in. The Alpine should now know that they are not in any fight this season. The only team Alpine are fighting is themselves, because they don't have the pace. The qualifying yesterday, they don't have the pace. In the race today, they don't have the pace. They were just like the lapping boys all through the race today. And to us, they have suffered, but I think Oliver Bierman is getting into his own. He just needs to maintain a position in which he doesn't get a 2 penalty point on his driver's license before the end of October, because if he gets that, he might have to miss a race. And also Colapinto, I think Colapinto still have a lot to learn. If I were Alpine, I'll stick with Jack Doohan, because giving him 5 races for everything he did is not enough. We can see after close to about 9 races, Colapinto is getting into its own. Jack Doohan was already getting it right. We were seeing progression. It was not really far off here, Gasly, but I think the team really bolted it. They didn't really trust him. Lance Stroll, any race he will always squabble. Great racing for him, though he had a lot of squabble. Lance Stroll will always put walls into the wall, and he did that today against Albon, Hulkenberg, which really brought some excitement into the race. Even Ocon, they brought excitement into the race. But for Alonso, he was just trying to stay steady and gain points, but this 5 seconds penalty really put him off the positioning. But going into Singapore, I think it's going to be a very interesting one, because it's a different sector. There's an high downforce track in which they'll be bringing a different wing level for racing. With the new opportunity that Red Bull are having now, they've gained time, they've really improved. Will they be able to take the fight to McLaren, or will the McLaren stay in the competition all through to the end, because they have nothing to lose? A lot of races to go in the season. We still have a good resurgence for Red Bull, a good one for McLaren trying to stay in position, but they had a bad race today. Good race for Mercedes, picking great points, 2nd and 4th, and good 3rd position for Williams. What a race it was for Carlos Sainz, and a good recovery for Ferrari, coming 8th and 9th. And to Lando Norris, coming 7th, Yuki Tsunoda 6th, and the Racing Bulls had a good race today. Liam Lawson 5th, and Isaac Adjar coming 10th. Great points for Racing Bull, big money on the table for them. Sauber team, another struggle. I think next year might be a good year for them, but remember they are moving to their own engine, Audi, Porsche, Volkswagen Group. Now you should know, now you understand. They are coming now after so many years. Will they be able to sink in, stock in into F1 and get the right engine? It's going to be a big ask. Although F1 have said if there's anybody lacking in engine, there'll be open room for them to optimize to get them up to shape. But next year, Audi and Honda coming back, well, let's see what happens. Up until Singapore, I love you guys, and I think we are going to have much more interesting races and qualifying before the end of the season. Don't miss any of our analysis. If you've not subscribed, please subscribe to this channel, share, like, comment, ask questions, and I will surely be happy to answer you. I love you guys. Bye. Cheers.